You know I think you're amazing, right?
Hey everybody, I'm Kara. Welcome back to Knowledge Work Nexus. Today we are going to be doing a quick demonstration and review of the plugin called Review. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, we are here in one of my demo vaults. This is the Knowledge Work Nexus demo. I'm going to drag my video across the screen to make things just a little bit easier to see. So this is a pretty basic vault, brand new just for this demo. You can see that I have the calendar plugin installed. I also do have periodic notes and templater installed, and I have one template in here, which is my daily notes template. And I do already have this section for the review plugin here, but I'll show you how to change that as we go. And I've got a couple of simple little projects, just blank notes here that we'll use for demonstration. So with that, let's go into our settings. And the first thing that I want to do is actually under the core plugins, I want to make sure that the backlinks plugin is turned on, which it is. And I want to take a look at the options for it. I actually want to show them in the document. So if you don't use this plugin, what that has done is not only will I still be able to see my backlinks here in the right-hand pane if I want to, I'll actually see them down here, and you'll see that in a minute when we actually add in a plugin for review. Go ahead and go back to calendar here for a second. The next plugin that I need to make sure is installed is the natural language dates plugin. I think I'm saying that wrong, but so I'm going to come in here to my settings, community plugins. I'm going to browse for plugins, and I'm going to type in natural language dates. I was saying it right. I'm going to install this, and then I'm going to enable it. And I don't remember if there are any options I need to set that are important for me. Doesn't look like it. So it looks like that's everything we need. And I'm not going to set any new hotkeys or anything for that. So now we're actually ready to install the review plugin. So we're going to go again back to community plugins, browse again, and we're going to type in review. And you'll see review comes up a lot. So we want this one, Review by Ryan J. Murphy. And we're going to hit install on it. And then we're going to enable it. And we are going to set just a couple of options. So right here, by default, this comes with a double hashtag review as the setting for your daily notes plugin. I want this to be notes selected for review. It can be whatever you want. You can put octopus in here if you want to. It doesn't matter. But it's this right here that we will copy over. So I just drag over it and hit Control C or Command C on my keyboard. We will put that into the daily notes template here in just a second. You can also see if you want a prefix. So for new lines, I'm actually just going to do a bullet for any new lines. I don't really want to add these things as tasks, but you can see here that you can. The same thing if you're going to do a block review. So if you're going to have just a specific block selected for review, you can have that as either a task or a bullet or an embed, which is what it has set here. And I'm going to leave it set to that for now. We might change it as we play around with the plugin here in just a second. So remember, we copied this, and now we're going to go put this into our daily note template, and then I'll come back and I'll set the hotkeys in just a second. So I'm going to come over here to my template, daily, and again, I want to put this right here. So I will go ahead and actually just paste over it. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Let's go fix that. Notes selected for review. There we go. And now we'll come over here to select it. Okay, see, this is why live demos are great. So then the other thing I'm going to do is set my hotkeys. So I'm going to come back down here to settings, community plugins, and set my hotkeys for review, which is right here. Just hit add on there. And I like Control Shift R for my note. Control Shift. I wonder if that's for Loom. All right, well then here, let's use Control R. Well, let me. There we go. And then for a block, I'm going to do Control Shift B. There we go. You do, again, as you're using hotkeys, you do have to remember that you don't want them to interfere with other things, like my issue with Loom as I'm recording this. I don't want it to interfere with that, so that was funny. I didn't even think about that happening. So then let's go see what this looks like in use. We're now ready to use it. Let's try it out. So I'm going to come down here to this article to reuse. So in the article that I wrote that accompanies this, you'll see I have a few different use cases that I think you might want for how you might need to use this article, or use this plugin. And one of the ones that I thought of is I write a lot of content, I create a lot of content, and I want to be prompted periodically to reuse that and to see, do I want to turn this into a Twitter thread now, or would this be good to put on LinkedIn at this point? Or should I do a, hey, here's how I'm using it now, it's changed, and let's look at that. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off that review plugin because I want to review the whole note here. So I'm going to do Control R, and you'll see this little thing pops up asking me to set the review date. So I want this one to come up in 2 months, and then I'm going to set the review date. And it kind of looks like nothing happened, except you saw that little thing pop out there that said, hey, something did happen. So let's move forward here in my calendar to 2 months from today, and you'll notice now there are dots underneath here because there's now a daily template for November 19th. And in that daily template, you'll see articles to reuse is showing there. If I go back to this articles to reuse and I look at the links, you'll see that there's also a link to mention to November 19th of 2020. That should actually be appearing down here. So let's go look at the settings for my core plugin again, because I should be seeing my backlinks in my document. I'm going to close this vault and I'm going to reopen it again. I think it's this one, and just see if now that setting is working. Sometimes when you're playing around with settings, there we go. When you're playing around with settings, you do have to close your vault and reopen it sometimes for those settings to take effect, and that's what we were seeing there. So no big deal. So then here's a project that I have. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this works on the block. So check with John about the paperwork. So this is maybe just a thing that I need to do in my reminder, and I want to remember to do it today. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-B. That's what I set for the block, and I want to do this actually today. I'm going to hit Set Review Date, and it is now added to my daily note. You can see that for today. If I go over to the calendar and I look at today's daily note, you'll see that actual block is embedded right there for me to review. So if I want to open it, I can go right back to it and I can do that. Okay. So really helpful to create non-task-based items, but let's say I actually want this to be a task. So let's change that setting in the review. Oops, that was not what I wanted. Let's change that setting in the review plugin. So here in review, when I do a block embed, I actually want it to be a task. Go. So I've added in the task nomenclature. And here in this, check with Susie about the graphics. Now I'm going to do Control-Shift-B again, and I want this to be today, set the review date. And so now if we go look at today's daily note, you'll see that this is actually added as a link, which should have been a task. That's interesting. Did I set that wrong? Probably so. That doesn't look like it. Huh. All right. I don't use the blocks that much, so it's probably why I haven't found this out yet, but interesting. So it's still there. I would still see it. That's what matters to me. And again, that's not a feature that I'm really using that much, but interesting that that's not working. I will report that to the developer. And so finally, I want to show you the other use case that I talked about in my article and for this, which is that one of the things I do today is I actually create a task in my note and I have a reminder that's set for, say, every 2 weeks. But let's say that this project now suddenly ramped up. I'd have to actually go in and edit that task and change the review frequency. I probably might even need to delete new recurrences of that task and create a new task. Now with this, let's say this project just went from needing to be reviewed every 2 weeks to every 1 week. Now I can just do Control R, put it in 1 week, and my review date will be added to that for the 26th. So now if I look at my daily note for the 26th, project 2 is selected for review. I think there are a lot of interesting use cases for the review plugin. I'm just showing you a couple that I've thought of after using this plugin for just a couple of days. I would love to know if you have some others, or if you think of other things that you might like to use this plugin for. If so, hit me up in the comments below. Don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.
You know I think you're amazing, right? No, you're really dope. You're dope. It's not really good time.